What's up, guys? It's Crash, and two main things in today's video. I want to talk about the redacted specialists that we haven't officially heard about yet. You know, on this channel, we're always ahead of the curve, so we're going to cover those things and take a look at them and why I'm not ready to write off the specialist system just yet. And then we're going to look at some gameplay changes that the developers have said they are working on and different things that are going to change how the game works and plays based on the beta. We are also expected to get official information on both of these topics very soon, especially this week with the redacted specialist. I assume in the form of specialist trailers. They're going to introduce those to us, but we can pretty much deduce from data mining and what we've seen in the trailers what those specialists are going to be. So if you're interested in that, we're going to cover it. And then as well, they also did mention that we're going to get a Battlefield beta debriefing of sorts, where they're going to talk about what they found in the beta, our feedback, and how they're going to address it moving forward. So that should be really good. So first off, let's get into the redacted specialists, and I'm going to talk a little bit here about why I'm not quite ready to write them off. You guys will see when we talk about some of these guys. One of the things that I didn't enjoy about the specialists in the beta was it was supposed to be more flexible with only one gadget slot. I felt a little bit kind of put in a box with what I could do. There wasn't as much flexibility as I hoped with the loadouts. So some of these specialists might open that up, as you'll see. And then what we know now officially about Hazard Zone, I think having these specialists and abilities in an objective type game mode could add some much needed depth to the gameplay of Hazard Zone. You know, working with your squad and your friends to determine what specialists you want to bring, what traits you want to bring in, and what you want to attack as far as the Hazard Zone objectives, how you want to play it, I think could add a lot of gameplay depth. And as I mentioned in the Hazard Zone video, I think that game mode definitely needs some depth to it. So these specialists could really help out there. I'm not ready to write these off yet, guys, because we haven't also seen how they play all together. So that could be interesting. The jury's still out on that, but let's talk about these specialists. So the easiest way to look at these is look at a graphic that was posted by Temporyal. He has data mined a lot of these abilities. These can be confirmed by what we see in gameplay snippets, as well as they line up with those Exodus short stories that we got leading up to the short film of Exodus, where they talked about and introduced some of these specialists. So this stuff all lines up with that. So let's take a look at these specialists and discuss them just a little bit. First, we have Sundance, who we have seen a ton with the wingsuit. You guys know how that works. Should work great in the Tornado. Can't wait to see how that works out. But then she has smart explosive clusters, EMP, and anti-vehicle. So again, this might be able to free up that gadget slot, and instead of having to carry like a recoilless M5 or an AA missile, you might be able to have anti-vehicle properties with her and then carry something else to help the team, such as ammo or health or something like that. So that's a pretty cool operator that I think will be a lot of fun. I think that wingsuit in the Tornado is a match made in heaven. Then we're going to talk about Dozer. I did a video on him and I speculated that he would have this blast resistance, so that was pretty cool. It reduces explosive damage effects, which is pretty good. Hopefully, I haven't heard yet, hopefully they are adding grenade indicators so we know when there's a grenade, because that was a little bit rough in the beta. Grenades were really strong, so that could be pretty helpful. And then the ballistic shield deflects incoming small arms fire. I think he could be a lot of fun with that ballistic shield in Hazard Zone. You know, if you're trying to revive a teammate or if you're trying to pull the data drives, I'm sure there's going to be an animation on the satellite. Maybe he can give you guys some cover with that ballistic shield, so that might be kind of cool. And then Constantine Angel, I'm guessing that's probably how that's said. He looks to be a pretty strong specialist. He has a Samaritan ability where he can revive any soldier, so another medic type class, and his patients gain armor, so extremely strong. He has the supply bag connected to armor and ammo, so if he has a supply bag as his main specialist gadget, you're going to free up that gadget slot again to carry something anti-vehicle wise or anything that you guys might need there. So I think a couple of these specialists are going to help open up that gadget slot just a little bit, since there was only one in the beta. Then we have Navin Rao. We've seen him in several trailers. He has a Trojan network which spots enemies adjacent to his kills, which might be kind of cool. I could see that being used by some fraggers that like to play pretty aggressive and get some multi kills. And then the signal hacker disables enemy hardware. This could be really strong in Hazard Zone as well. I think a lot of these specialists They almost sound to be built in and around Hazard Zone a little bit. I think they're going to be really fun to play in that game mode. And then we have Jisoo Pike. She has an acquisition trait, which those who damage you become spotted, so that can help to determine where you're getting shot from, as well as an EMG-X scanner that highlights hostiles concealed behind cover. Again, in a no respawn game mode like Hazard Zone, that is extremely strong. So those are the 5 specialists. Again, I'm not ready to write off the specialist system just yet. Once we get all the specialists in, we've had some time with the game, then I'll kind of be able to make a final decision on that. Then we got some interesting information from Neil Stoilinga. We've talked about him on this channel before. He is a designer over at DICE, and he gives us some insight as to what they're working on. So I think we could talk about that. The first place I saw this rounded up was on the BF Bulletin over on Twitter. It's also on Reddit. But this list is very interesting. The team is adding strafe input to sliding, and then they went on to elaborate that don't get too upset about this. The strafe input to sliding can only move your character just a couple degrees. It's very, very subtle. They have reduced or removed the FOV effect in some cases. Slide was too extreme. I've said that a little bit when I talked about the small soldiers. I feel like the FOV being higher than a lot of people thought they were on can make things seem smaller. It also makes the movement seem faster, which has also been confirmed to be coded as the same as past titles. So having a higher FOV can make you think you're moving faster. It also might make the slide seem pretty extreme. They're adding support for vaulting on moving objects besides vehicles. The different maps will have several big moving objects that soldiers can walk on. So that's pretty exciting that they're adding that. Enter animations are drastically shorter, and exit animations are mostly removed in Battlefield 2042. I think that's pretty good. When you get killed getting in and out of a vehicle, it's pretty frustrating. Jump spamming is already being addressed, so it looks like they're adding a cooldown. That was one of my main beefs. Bunny hopping in the beta was actually really strong, so just adding that cooldown should help that quite a bit. Weapon, soldier, and vehicle customization can be done from the main menu and during the match at launch. I think that's great. That's something we kind of expected. Combat roll is not planned right now, as they also elaborated and said that leaning and crouch running is not planned right now either. I was a little bummed about that, but it's not game breaking. It's something I'll get used to. I like just having the lean if I need it, if I want to use it, and crouch running, sneaking up on vehicles is sometimes kind of nice, but again, not game breaking, and I'll get used to it. Not a big deal. The others, elevators, FPS drops while using a scope, and grappling hook bug when skirting across the map are being fixed. So that's all good stuff. I think overall these changes are really good. A couple of them just bring up a few a few minor alarms in the back of my head that, you know, we're a month from launch and you're just now still working on this stuff when they told us that the bugs were already being or have already been addressed and the beta was an old build. But overall, these are good things. We'll just have to wait and see how it plays out. And then finally, one other thing that another level designer added over on Reddit, they are doubling the tanks to 4 for a total of 8 tanks roaming the landscape on orbital. So they're going to up those tank numbers. I thought it was pretty nice to not be constantly bothered by tanks all the time, but again, I also like to blow tanks up, so having a few more targets is not necessarily bad. That was a massive map, and I feel like there's probably room for a few more tanks on there, so it looks like they're upping that number. But anyway, guys, I hope that keeps you in the loop for everything we're expected to hear about this week. You heard it here first, and that's all I had for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be a friend, tell a friend, and we'll see you on the next one.